Welcome to SOFI Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about the daily chart and the weekly chart. For SOFI, we're going to look at the long dated and short dated options on this one. We'll talk a little bit about my price targets, my ads and trims, what I'm going to do long term with it. And also we'll touch on a little bit of SOFI news that's out recently and a quick look at the general market overview. So that'll be the economic data yesterday and what's coming out today. Right, hopping straight into it. No camera today. I'm still in my pajamas. I'm having a chill few days. I've had a very hectic week or so. I do have some big news coming for 2025 though, so keep an eye out for that. However, looking at SoFi's chart, we've had a hell of a run up here, guys. From the low down here, ballpark, 187% return over 95 trading days. So very, very happy with that. As well as that, we did capitalize on this pump and pullback. We trimmed, we added, and we've been riding this up and trimming again. Now, price for SoFi is kind of at fair value. It's a little bit over it for this year. For 2025 next year, I'm kind of looking at $21. So I'm happy to go a little bit overweight on this one, but not a lot given the run up that it's had. Generally, when something's had one of these kind of almost parabolic moves, I don't want to be keeping all of the risk on the table. If I hadn't trimmed out of this one, I could be at 15-20% weighting. And given how extended it is and how due it is for a pullback, I think that's quite risky. That's how I manage my risk personally. That's not everyone's way of doing it. Some people prefer just to hold all the fluctuations, but I like to add in and out and rotate to other stuff that hasn't gone parabolic yet, which I have been doing. Mainly that's gone into clean spark, to be honest. But that one's not moved at all yet. It's going the opposite way, which is good because it's giving me almost kind of like a way of pair trading several things. Let's look at the technicals for this one though. We're having a bit of trouble maintaining over this breakout. We've kind of popped and back tested. Volume's been okay. It's kind of just stable really. To the upside though, let's have a look. We've got this really strong level at $20 that we definitely will be having a pullback there, which kind of lines up with where I'm looking 2025. Now, I think each quarter that SoFi has is going to be better and better and better, and we're going to see more deals, and we're going to see more of the tech stack deals coming out. So I think my fair value, for me, my personal fair value that I've calculated is going to be moving quite higher in 2025. Probably more towards the $30 range, I imagine. I'm just playing around with some numbers, but that doesn't mean that's going to hit it in like the next 5 minutes. So that's something to bear in mind. I do want SoFi to have a little bit of a cool down, but I think if we get the cut today, there might be another push. I do think there's going to be a cut, but we'll talk about that later in the news section. To the downside, then we've got ignore that line, that's the capped call limit for 2029, so that's not really relevant at the moment, but that's good. So the next real area that I'd want it to pull down was kind of $15. Would I add to that? Let's have a look, see how much of a cool off that would be from the peak. Well, let's just go from where I trimmed it. Maybe I wouldn't add to that. A 7% benefit isn't really here or there after you've paid the fees and spreads, so I would perhaps like to add more down at this kind of $14 area. I don't know if it's going to get there though. The market's pretty bullish on SoFi at the minute, so we'll have to wait and see. MACDX Plus looks good, Flow looks good. Let's take a look at the weekly quickly. Let me just reshape this so you can see it. I mean, you can really see how violent that move to the upside has been with just how many big green bars we had. It's starting to get a little bit tired here, but that completely makes sense. I'd be tired if I'd run that much too. We nailed the measured move. I did initially expect more hesitation there. We had 1 week of kind of chop and then we smashed it. So, but weekly RSI very hot. Typically, SoFi has no history of being hot this long, so that doesn't fill with me with too much confidence. Companies like Tesla can run hot for a long time. Bitcoin can run hot for a long time. But this one really has no precedence for it. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. Flow as well is also getting a little bit exhausted, and with the volume, that makes sense. Let's take a look at the open options interest on this one then. Okay, let's have a look what the big boys and the market makers are thinking with this one. So we've got a large volume here at $17. That's going to be where market makers want to keep it under, so they'll be selling. And then to some degree, this kind of $16 area has got a lot of volume this week. So potentially, if nothing exciting happens macro-wise, this one's going to ping between those two levels. We do have the Fed today, though, so whichever way that goes is going to probably determine the way this one goes, as with many stocks today. The software that I'm using has auto-generated the support line, so we'll probably see some more volume picking up there. But other than that, $9 is the beast one. I don't think SOFI is going to get back down there again, but you never know. There's probably some hedging going on there. Let's take it out to next week. We can see the volume does pick up a lot here, which is probably where this level's coming from. So yeah, my most likely area of support will be here. Market makers will buy aggressively in this area. It's not really worth doing January 2025 since that's like a week away till we roll over into that one. Let's go 2026 and see what's cracking on there, shall we? Again, the market's kind of in line with my thoughts on this one currently. I do want to point out that this is a very aggressively growing company. Each quarter, they just, they do insanely well. So I expect my targets to raise, and in all likelihood, these numbers are probably going to rise up through the rest of 2025 as well. I'm actually expecting a really good Q1 for this company, given some of the deals that are coming out. And yeah, very excited. Still want to make sure I'm at least 10% weighing on this one. To the downside, we've still got a lot of interest down here, but really these are probably old legacy or hedging positions. They're just so unrealistic. I don't know why anyone's holding those. Yeah, let's carry on. News-wise for SOFI, I've got a couple of little bits. We've got the hitting 10 million members. That's amazing. I think in a few years this number's going to look minuscule. So whilst it's exciting now, it's going to be a drop in the ocean in the future. But still great progress for them. We did have a bunch of 144s. That is nothing to be concerning. Jeremy Rishel dumps his all the time. We also saw from Keo. I think Derek White and Simcock were on there as well. I mean, those guys sell all the time like clockwork, so not really alarmed about that. A lot of people I've seen lately are freaking out a little bit about Noto using his shares as collateral. I don't think this is too much of a bigger deal as a lot of people are making out. I think given his kind of targeted reward structure and the timeline of this deal, I think SOFI is going to be well above $31, which would reduce it to its minimum payback of about 850,000 shares, something like that. Basically, just a quick napkin math there. But I mean, he could always do another deal in the future as well, and essentially just keep pushing this off and off and shrinking it. But it's a very masterful move on his part to reduce his tax burden. So all in all, really a bit of a nothing burger. It's just, he gets some liquidity right now and pushes off his tax burden. So good choice, I think, in the long run. I don't know what all the drama is about. It's not like he's been asked to give up 2 million shares right now. I think people are looking at a snapshot of these numbers right now and not actually applying them to where we're expecting SOFI to grow in the future, which is always what you should be doing with a growth company when they're doing these kind of, financial deals. Okay, let's have a look at the macro data for this week then. We had some retail sales month over month. That's had a good jump. Let's take a look, see if that's really anything to get excited about or not. Take a quick read. Vehicles. Biggest increases was vehicles. So that's interesting. So not as exciting as it appeared at first glance. For the vehicles, it's probably a bump from China's probably shifting a load of stock ready for the tariffs. Tesla, the EV credits, people are probably front running that. A lot of the other companies probably got deals on with all the competition coming. So whilst the number's good, it's not as good as you would like. The right thing isn't driving that number, but a win's a win. Most people won't read into that too much. So sorry, I probably should have looked here. It does say excluding the auto numbers. It did come in actually lower than forecast. So mixed bag, but we'll take it. Retail sales year over year better than previous, so that's at least a win. Red Bull year over year, that's been okay. What else is exciting? Blah 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 blah. Manufacturing. I mean, that's just been terrible for a while, but I think this is going to change in the coming years. Housing index. So nothing too interesting we missed on Tuesday. So it was a good day for me to be busy. Sorry, something's popping up on my other screen. Don't know if you can see that, but Wednesday. So far today, we've got the mortgage rate. Interesting that's gone up again. Be in line with the longer term bonds, I guess. But I think rates are going to get cut today. Oh, stop messaging me. Mortgage applications is down, no surprise. It's Christmas and that crap is expensive, so that's probably not ideal. And refinance is probably not going to be preferred right now as well. So again, we're seeing the housing area kind of just really locked up. I'm hoping that improves in 2025. My current thesis is that it does, but we shall see. Again, building permits is probably not going to be coming in too great today. More housing data is coming out. We don't really pay attention to the oil numbers. We just look at the market, and the sentiment is bad for oil right now. With all that OPEC's doing and what Trump's doing, the likelihood oil prices is coming down is very high. So I probably wouldn't want to go long on actual oil. Maybe more along the actual companies that do other stuff with it, something like infrastructure related to it. Fed rate decision at 7. I'm expecting a cut. I'm expecting a cut because some of the seasonality has been washed out of some of the jobs numbers we're seeing on the slide. So actually, the jobs numbers are way worse than people were actually aware of. Even though no jobs have technically been lost, they've just corrected some of the edits they've made. So again, I think it's going to be the last one for a while. I think there'll be some fiscal stimulus kicking in 2025 anyway. That's going to hamper these things, so I'd expect it to hold at those levels for a while. I will try and be on live for this. Well, not live, but I will be online, so I'll be putting some stuff on my eToro portfolio if anyone wants to catch up with that. Tomorrow we also have some juicy bits with the GDP growth rate coming out before the market opens. So if this is good, we do get the Santa rally. If any of this is bad, then maybe we don't get the Santa rally that everyone was hoping for. But I think Q1 is going to be pretty decent anyway. We'll have to wait and see. It's definitely going to be better for some companies than others. More than likely some of the companies that haven't done too well lately. That's a wrap. I hope you like this. I've been trying to make the videos shorter, more concise, get the information out a little bit faster. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you don't. But share this regardless and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's update for PayPal.